The Covenant of God. It's a once-in-a-lifetime ceremony. The god himself congratulates a newborn and tells that he wants to make a pact. The baby was greeted as he was born into such an important ceremony to make a pact with God, whose name the baby had never heard of. The newborn was given immense power. The god himself said that the baby has got a prosperous future ahead of him. The boy has a prosperous future and has the power, but he also has to take care of the rest. With that being said, a contract was made with the minor god, and right then and there, it was over. All his childhood, the boy was always busy trying to control his overflowing powers. He looks at a great castle ahead, a prosperous future, the boy wonders. He wants to know if this is really true. Therefore, he claims that he did not train hard enough because of all of that. At some point, he even was to be called for incompetence. After the boy entered the castle, someone called him by name, Yuno. It was a boy called Maru. He referred to Yuno as a trash can and told him that this is not the place for him. He said that Yuno is no better than a commoner with a sword and has magic. Maru wondered what sort of mistake did the academy make to get Yuno enrolled. Yuno turned his eyes away. Not this again. He didn't want this conversation to go on. Besides, it's not that he had any desire to study here anyway. Still, he didn't say anything in reply. The Royal Capital Ferris Magical Knights Academy, a sacred academy where only the most promising elite are allowed to pass through its gates. But the problem is that Yuno had other plans for his own life. The guy only wished to live a peaceful life in the countryside, getting by doing farm work. Ah, the dreams. Yuno's behavior irritated Maru, though. He was frustrated because Yuno didn't reply to him and treated him like it was no big deal. Then Yuno eventually replied. Yuno told him that he passed the exams more or less, so he will study here, it seems. This means that from this point they have to be classmates. Maru's friends start to mock Yuno. They giggle and wonder since when would the likes of the third son of the night speak like that to the second son of the count. They asked Yuno if he was not speaking like he was supposed to. Someone said that on the campus their familial statuses would be nullified. The girl who was sitting behind them looked like she was sick of listening to this conversation. It was only her good manners which held her back. All of a sudden, Yuno felt a strong flow which swept by his right ear, nearly hurting the guy. It was because of Maru. He used his magic to scare Yuno. The boy says that Yuno doesn't seem to be in touch with reality, so he will let him know for the sake of their bond as childhood friends. However, it doesn't really seem like Yuno was scared. Maru yells at Yuno and tells that this is not the place for incompetent, talentless, and effortless trash like Yuno. He also says that he is sure that Yuno somehow cheated his way into the academy in the name of the Astario family. Then Maru wonders if there is anyone who wants to be classmates with such incompetent guy. Everybody starts supporting Maru. They cheer him up, saying that he is right. The girl who was sitting had enough. She stands up and heads to them. The girl said that they all have the right to say whatever they want, but she suggested they shut their mouths and listen. Then she stands for Yuno. The girl claims Yuno passed his exams with his own abilities legitimately. She also says that regardless of Yuno's fencing or magic skills, his smarts were enough to make up for it. Besides, they were all childhood friends, so they would know each other best. Maru didn't like her words. Still, it doesn't look like he can do anything about it. He shrugs his shoulders and says that it was expected from her. After all, she, Alice, took top placement of the entrance exam. Alice wondered if Maru was even in the position to be acting all high and mighty. Then she suggested Maru compare his exam scores with Yuno. Girl's words caught him off guard. She also claimed that there is no way Maru tormenting Yuno with a barely passing score like he did. The guy was irritated and embarrassed. In order to overcome his insecurities, Maru changes subject quite quickly. He claims that Alice has a crush on Sir Knight Yuno. Then he says that he is not too fond of the idea of having to deal with her forcing them to put up with Alice's personal feelings. Yuno, who was standing behind Maru, smirked. He thought that Maru's actions were in vain since no one is able to stop Alice once she gets like this. He has never seen her lose in a battle of words since he was born. Looks like something goes wrong. Alice looks embarrassed. It seems she heard Yuno's words and lost her balance. The guy also looks surprised. He wonders how she could hear him in the first place. Yuno claims he wouldn't have minded being despised all on his own, but with Alice added into the mix, that's a whole different story. The guy recalls his father's words. The man told him that if Yuno doesn't get into a Ferris Magical Knight Academy, he will banish him from the Asterio family. His father's order was given to Yuno to acknowledge his incompetence. But now Yuno thinks that he really wouldn't have minded being banished from the house. But the words he heard from his sister? She was the only person who wished him luck. Not only that, but his sister played a huge role in Yuno's taking the entrance exam. Father and sister had their own view of Yuno's future. Unfortunately, no one asked the guy about his interests and plans. Yuno goes back to reality. He thinks that that doesn't matter now, since he passed the exam anyway. He refers to everyone and says that from now on he is going to do, well, something important, it seems. Unfortunately, when Yuno was about to continue his speech, the door opened and someone entered the room. An adult. The teacher, it seems. He slowly opened the door and asked everyone to take their seats. The first thing he saw was a quarrel between Yuno and Maru, but it doesn't look like he cares anyway. He asked guys once again to take the seats and not just stand there. Yuno takes his seat near Alice. He thanks her for what she has done. The girl takes off her eyes and says that that is fine. So the lesson begins, I suppose. The teacher congrats everyone on their enrollment. He calls his name, Soleil, and says that starting from today, he will be taking care of them all. The man says he would like to welcome all of them who have successfully enrolled with high hopes for their future. Still, this man looks like he is dealing with a huge burnout. All of a sudden, Maru raises his hand and claims that there is someone who was mistakenly enrolled. The guy says it is Yuno Asterio. Soleil wondered what Maru meant. Maru wondered if Soleil can explain why someone who can't even use a sword or do magic is here for some reason. He calls Yuno's name once more. Soleil opens the list and looks at Yuno's grades. He claims that his score on the practical examination is not good, but there were also written exams. Soleil says they have been doing it since this academy was established, and Yuno is the first ever to achieve full marks on it. Maru was completely wiped out by this information. Yuno was a little shy to hear that. Alice looks like she is satisfied someone took Maru a down or two notch. And as for Maru, he was boiling in his own rage. Of course he was. The guy tried to humiliate Yuno, but eventually was humiliated himself. Soleil starts with rules of the academy. He writes the most common rules on the board. He points at the third rule, calling it one of the most important ones. The third rule says to perform the covenant with a god delicately. Soleil explains that this is a serious once-in-a-lifetime ritual. In addition, he explains that a god's power bestowed to one is proportional to that of their fame, which means that if they will make a pact with a famous god, they will receive much of a powerful favor. It is no exaggeration to say that their destiny and their future will be determined by the god they make a pact with. Yuno recalls something, his birthday, and the god. He claims that that old man's name wasn't mentioned in any form of literature, which means that that god isn't famous, which means Yuno's powers will, let's just say it will be much less than others. Alice raises her hand. She says that she heard there have been instances in the past where people have made pacts with multiple gods. She asks if it's possible. Soleil says it is possible, but it is an extremely rare example. Then Soleil said that it would be much better and easier for him just to hear it from other people themselves. For some reason, everybody was very excited about what Soleil said, except for Alice. She sighs. She said that the guy might not want to watch this. Yuno wondered what she meant. Suddenly, a girl came out and headed to Soleil. It didn't take long for him to understand. After a few moments, Yuno realized what Alice had meant. It was just a tiny, innocent girl. She was standing there looking at everyone with her cute face. Except she was a god. She told it herself. And she also said that she has no name. A nameless god. Interesting. Soleil said that he supposes many of the students already know her, as she is a famous god here in the academy. To be able to hear from the mouth of God is a privilege, so he asks his students to listen closely. But it doesn't seem like they are about to do that. Instead, the appearance of the goddess makes them laugh at her. She wondered if students knew of her existence as a stray god. Maru raises his hand and says that he knows. Then he says that she is a weak god with no name, and everybody starts giggling at her. Yuno was holding his back as he didn't like how Maru and his friends treated the goddess. Then she said that Maru was sort of right. She explained that the benefits provided by the nameless gods may seem insignificant. so she asked everyone not to be fooled and not make a covenant with the stray gods. Then she says that she would like to teach them about some rules put in place for gods. First of all, a god must always respond when someone calls for their name. So when they make a pact with a god, they can avoid an unwanted pact by asking for its name in advance. Maru didn't stop his efforts to humiliate the goddess. After her explanation about the pact and names, he wondered if he may ask for her name. She replies that she has no name, and she says that was a good example. The stray gods like her wouldn't be able to provide an answer. Looks like the hands-on learning didn't go well. Everyone just makes fun of the goddess instead of doing something really useful. Then Maru stands up. He says that he is sure that if one were to make a pact with one, then one would be able to name them as he likes. The goddess confirms his words. In that case, Maru asks her to make a pact with him. The goddess was surprised yet excited. Did this boy really want to make a pact with her? A nameless god? What was his reason for that? She didn't know this. Maru wondered what he should do to make a pact with the goddess. She told him that he has to get down on one knee and kiss the back of her hand. But she wondered if the guy was sure that he wanted to go through with this. She reminded him that she has no name, and there are very little benefits for Maru. Besides, it seems Maru already has one with a name. But the guy laughs at her face. He claims that she has a name and her name is Incompetent God. The arrogant kid claims this name fits her just right, which means he doesn't have to give her a name at all. This makes the goddess shy, and she definitely feels embarrassed. As for Maru, the arrogant kid says that it was some real practice, and thanks to this incompetent goddess, he is all prepared for the real thing. Gosh, he is bragging like he has just saved the planet. The goddess has nothing else than to thank Maru for cooperation, even though she clearly didn't feel good. Yuno was quiet, but inside of him a storm was raging. He wished Maru would stop making jokes about it, but it looks like everything is going to be much worse. You see, after Maru mocked the nameless god, the others also had a big desire to mock her as well. And the goddess can't do anything about this. This was too much for Yuno. He claimed that no one is supposed to disrespect God like this. The guy stands up. He wonders if Alice knew about this. The girl says that there is a famous stray god who for 12 whole years was unable to form a pact with anyone. The girl asks him not to get any weird ideas. She also says that as long as he is able to attend this academy and make a pact with a god, he will be reborn. But now it is not that time. Yuno looks at her. He was smiling. The guy thanked her for knowing him through and through. The guy eventually raised up and headed to Maru. Alice tried to stop him, but she wasn't able to do that. Yuno told Maru to run. The arrogant kid turned his head to Yuno. He looked at him like a trash can. In vain. Yuno prepared his fist and landed one quick but really strong body shot. Maru nearly spits his own jaw. His arrogance vanished momentarily, and his eyes became heavier and he fell. Everybody was shocked. Classmates, Alice, and even the nameless god. Yuno was able to take Maru down with only one strike. No way, thought others. Yuno admits that he was entirely content with living being despised as incompetent. The god who called himself Zeus at that time. Yuno didn't know what the god was thinking at the time he was entrusting the guy with his powers. And this power could be used as the source of an impending disaster. So Yuno continued to keep hiding his ability and devoted himself to being incompetent. Then the guy steps closer to the nameless god. He landed on his one knee in front of others and bowed before her. Yuno claimed that as of today, for the first time in his life, he wished to use his powers for someone. The goddess was really startled by Yuno's action. She wondered what the hell happened just before. The guy claims he wants to see this young one's smiling face. That was the only thing that got him started. He looked her in the eyes and asked her to make a pact with him. Everyone around there was shocked. The goddess asked the guy if he really wanted to make a pact with her. She wanted to make sure this was not just another joke, and wondered about Yuno's wish. He lent her a hand, which meant that he was not joking. Then the guy asked if she wanted to give it a try. If a god's fame is proportional to their power, then with his strength he could maybe make this stray god's fame rise. Besides, he doesn't want to see this child's sad face. The nameless god responded to Yuno's proposal. She lent her hand to him. Finally, their hands touched each other, and Yuno kissed her soft little hand. The goddess was really excited. She nearly jumped for her joy. Then she asked the guy to give her a name. Yuno looked at her smiling face. He was glad to see it. Then he comes up with a name for her. The guy names her Athena. Athena. She whispered this name a few times. It was her name now. Looks like she really likes it. Yuno also liked her to be like this. He claims that tears don't fit her face, and from now on, he will always be by her side. She asked if Yuno would be so kind as to tell her his name in return. The guy calls his name Yuno Astario, and he also claims that Athena's face is the reason why he thinks he is going to take things more seriously. A few days later, Yuno shows up at the academy with Athena. Everyone was watching them and gossiping behind their back. All that they knew about Yuno was that he was a freshman, and the fact that the guy made a pact with a stray god. They claim he is a fool, and he will regret it eventually. The girl stopped him. She said she was sorry. Yuno wondered what she meant. Athena says that it is because of her everybody is looking funny at them. However, Yuno denies that. He says that they are just fascinated by her beauty, and he claims she is really cute. Kami-sama becomes embarrassed. She asks him not to make fun of her. Then she wonders if Yuno is going to regret making a pact with her. Yuno just smiles. He claims that the goddess is unbelievably cute. The guy says he is far from regretful. In fact, he is really delighted to have done so. Also, the guy admits it's been a few days since forming a pact with Athena, and since then he has made a name for himself here in the academy. His fame wasn't just because he made a pact with a stray god. Not quite. Everyone knows him as the guy who beated up the second son of the count. He was known as a freshman who was suspended on the first day for a violent act. The other claims that beating up their own classmates is not what normally happens if their statuses become null. However, Yuno was satisfied. Don't get him wrong. He wasn't satisfied with beating up someone. Absolutely not. He was satisfied it was just one single punch. Here comes the classes. Alice and Yuno, and the others, of course, are sitting in the class and listening to the teacher. He asks kids to open the book on a certain page and look at it. But Yuno was a little bit distracted. He looks at the door and sees Athena, who peeks at him through the door. The guy was touched by her beauty and sweetness. Those eyes. They were amazing, lovely, and full of joy. Yuno raises his hand to greet the goddess. It was very pleasing for Athena to finally have a pact with someone, but not everyone was satisfied to look at that. Alice, who was sitting next to Yuno, claimed that the guy got a strange face. He apologizes for that. But Alice explains that it is not that she is upset that Yuno went and made a pact with God. She just asks him to watch out for Maru and his friends. She reminds him that the class will be holding a mock battle later this afternoon. During that, those guys may use it to get back at Yuno. He asks Alice not to worry about that. After all, he has Athena beside him right now. Alice admits that she wouldn't lie that she is curious about how far Yuno can go now. But even that, the guy admits that she is right. Today will be the first time to show off the blessings bestowed to him by Athena through the mock battle. His main goal is to make the former stray god, Athena, who was looked down upon for her incompetence, famous. And to be able to do so, he needs to prove that Athena is not incompetent. One of the blessings he has received from Athena was spear arts. It is literally a skill that allows the user to handle spears really well. In addition, Yuno was born with the powerful God-given blessing from Zeus. It gives him an overwhelming strength, which cannot be copied by ordinary people. The guy rolls in his head his future mock battle. The plan is very simple. If Yuno, who had been called incompetent, took an overwhelming victory using spear arts, a rumor can be spread that Athena, a former stray god, was actually a good god. Today's mock battle could be a crucial first step towards raising Athena's reputation. If the rumor spreads, more people will want to make a pact, which means Athena's fame will rise. And Yuno wants to be able to go with that flow if possible. The guy looks at Athena. She looks cheered up after she made a pact with Yuno. However, most of the students haven't acknowledged her yet. Yuno claims that apparently gods can change their appearance at will if they have a body. But it seems that Athena is not able to do that. Because she doesn't have much fame, she has too little power to use. The guy looks at Athena with eyes full of joy and care. He claims that he doesn't want her to have to wait outside the classroom like that. So he will make her dematerialize or go invisible eventually. Her face is truly very cute. Unfortunately, Soleil noticed that Yuno peeked at Athena too much. The teacher headed towards the guy and asked him to come to the guidance room later today. He was forced to agree, and then the mockery battle began. Yuno took his weapon. It wasn't a spear, though. The usage of real weapons would be a really dangerous thing. Instead, Yuno was holding a wooden stick. In the beginning, Athena cheers Yuno up. He was thankful but said that he will be fine. With the skill she gave him, Yuno's opponents won't stand a chance. Athena says she will be rooting for him. Maru already gathers his company. He stares at Yuno with his evil eyes. He wants revenge. But before that, someone has to explain the rules. So Soleil asks everyone to gather around him. The man says that today will be the first mock battle. So in order to prevent any unexpected accidents, they have prepared weapons with low lethality. Plus, on the subject of magic, students are allowed to use beginner-level spells only. Soleil says everyone is free to choose an opponent as long as it remains one-on-one. And if for any reason someone won't find the opponent, the teacher will do it. That is all the rules. Yuno looks at Alice. He asks her to treat him nicely if they will be fighting. But the girl says she won't hold back. So the teacher asks those who are ready to come forward. Yuno admits he doesn't want to fight Alice only. Suddenly, he sees Maru. It seems he heads toward Yuno. When he comes closer, Maru refers to Yuno. He asks Yuno to lend him his face. Athena, who was sitting nearby, watched this with interest. And while Maru was moving to the ring, he focused on the fight and wanted to keep it in moderation. Looks like there is something much more than a simple revenge. Maru wondered how Yuno will fight after he made a pact with a stray god. The fact that Yuno made a pact with a stray god bothers him. He suspects that there is something unfair about it. This guy is much smarter than he looks. So will it be? Said Soleil when he saw both Maru and Yuno who were heading to the ring. When the guys were in front of each other, Maru smirked at Yuno's face and said that he was surprised that Yuno stepped up to it. He even claimed that he admires Yuno's guts. Yuno replied that Maru shouldn't underestimate him, since he is the person who made a pact with a god. Maru laughs. He claims that when incompetence teams up with incompetence, they are still no match for him. Yuno frowned. The fight is going to be tough. Soleil gives a sign to start the fight. Looks like Maru is not in the mood for a conversation. After Soleil gives a sign, Maru instantly uses his powerful technique called the Wind Blade to attack Yuno and finish the fight with one spell. And Yuno wasn't in the mood to talk either. He squeezed his stick and dodged the attack. Then he rushed to Maru. Alice didn't like what she saw. She was shocked by Yuno's actions as she was sure that Yuno shouldn't close the distance between them. She claimed that no matter how much of that god's power Yuno got, the Byrne family are gifted in magic, and it is too dangerous to take Maru head-on. But she was completely shocked after what she saw next. Yuno just deflected the wind magic with his spear. Amazing! Maru was shocked too, but he got himself together and prepared to hit Yuno with his wind blade once more. But Yuno was too fast. He managed to close the distance between them just enough for his stick to reach Maru. And when Maru was about to use his magic once again, Yuno raises the stick. He trained well, and it looks like he wins. The guy looks at Maru's eyes with a smile. The second son of the Count was in trouble. No matter how skillful he was in magic, it doesn't matter when you are going to be hit by a stick. Maru fails to block the attack. Yuno's stick reached Maru. The hit was performed perfectly. Just like their first encounter, this fight ended with a single hit, and Maru was defeated once more. When Yuno hit Maru, he looked at his grimace and numbed. Yuno admits it is the first time he has used his own powers by his own will. While the guy was thinking about his skills, the public went quiet. They were all shocked to see the second Lord of the Count lose the battle. Besides, it ended with a single hit. Alice and Athena were excited though. Yuno was the victor, and they couldn't wish for more. Maru was trying to catch his breath. He could barely speak and move. His body was filled with pain. Watching him like that made Yuno recall something. He looked at his hand, realizing the huge power inside of him. Not only that, but also the fact that he is able to control it now. Then the guy remembered his young age. He was training some magic spells. Looks like it was a wind blade. But something went wrong that time. The power that Zeus gave him was too much for a boy to handle. And as he released the first shot, he couldn't hold it, and the second shot of the wind blade released accidentally. Unfortunately, the second shot was pointed just at the place where Yuno's sister was standing. The little Yuno shouted at her, trying to warn his sister. On that day, he stopped using spells, since it nearly hurt his elder sister. She was all right, but Yuno didn't want to go through these sensations once more. Even though Yuno is able to fully control the power Zeus gave him, the upper limits of this power still remains unknown. And yet, right now the guy feels excitement seeing Maru collapse before him. Once he learns how to use this power, he will surely, "Yuno-san, it was amazing." The guy hears a familiar voice, full of excitement and joy. Athena. The girl was rooting for Yuno so much that she couldn't hold herself after she saw Yuno's victory. The goddess claims it was absolutely magnificent. Yuno turns his head to Athena. "Kami-sama," he says. Then he understands. He has Athena by his side. Yuno smiles. Her lovely eyes and cute hair fill his heart with joy. The guy raises the stick and says that this is because of the spear arts she gave him. He claims that this skill works wonderfully. The guy admits that as long as she is by his side, he won't go down the wrong path. All of a sudden, someone else expressed his wish to face Yuno in the battle. This guy claims he will fight Yuno and tells him not to be cocky. Yuno looked at his opponent with his smiling, careless gaze. He definitely didn't see that guy as a threat. The opposite, since it was Maru's friend, Yuno got the perfect chance to wipe out all of his enemies. Yuno said he expected this. The guy tells his opponent that he will give him a quick reality check. Then he punishes all the arrogant kids one by one without breaking a sweat. What the? Yuno left the ring full with nothing but a bunch of beated kids. Maybe he overdid it a little bit. Still, who cares? His job was done. He won the battle, and the main thing. Everybody heard it was all because of Athena's skill. The girl looked at Yuno with shock. Other kids were gossiping behind. They couldn't believe what they saw. Yuno Agario, the man who was called incompetent, took down 10 opponents with ease. They admit the guy is insanely strong. Some of them even thought that it is a good idea to make a pact as well. The guy's words were true. Today was the first step towards their new life. The next day at the academy was different. Yuno's overwhelming victory in the mock battle quickly became the talk of the academy. Students claim that the stray god is actually really strong. Some of them even knew her name, Athena. Moreover, they were now admired by her beauty and appearance. So, as Yuno intended, Athena was gaining more attention. On the other hand, students weren't too kind towards Yuno. Not that they mocked him. I mean, who even dared to do that after what they saw yesterday? But everybody was talking about how badass he was in the battle. In addition, the fact that Yuno didn't show any mercy to his own classmates was spooky to the rest of the students. The guy had become known as a treacherous troublemaker. The students claim it doesn't matter if it was his first mock battle. He took it really seriously anyway. This fact irritates Yuno. The guy claims there wasn't any hardcore or violence yesterday as all of his opponents were downed in a single hit, one punch. Athena was full of joy as she always was. But when she asked Yuno to look at her, the guy heard pretty much more excitement in her voice. He looked at the god. The girl tells him that she is able to float now and demonstrates her new skill. Yuno claims this is amazing news. That means her name is spread and her divine powers are improved. While the guy was admiring Athena's new ability, the rest of the students weren't so amazed. They look down at him and claim that he is just a useless Agario who is really getting ahead of himself. As was told before, while Athena's rep in the academy is growing well, on the other hand, the rumors about Yuno continue to make its rounds and spread like wildfire. Yuno reached the classroom and took his seat. He looks in the window thinking about what bothers him. But then the guy claims that there is no point in worrying over it. Besides, if he is able to see Kami-sama's smile, he can shrug off a bad rumor about him or two. Suddenly, Alice calls the guy. She tells him they should get going. Yuno wondered if the next lesson would be held in another classroom. Alice claims Yuno didn't listen to a single thing Sensei Soleil said. Yuno admits he didn't. The girl sighs. She says that they are holding matchmakings today. She points at the building. Alice explains this is the St. Ferris Girls' Academy over there. The guy looked in the window. A matchmaking? What do you mean? He asked. The St. Ferris Girls' Academy, a prestigious academy for young ladies, whereas the majority of its students are daughters from aristocratic families. The students of the Ferris Magical Knight Academy shall be the knight of one of the students of the St. Ferris Girls' Academy, and shall protect them. That is the traditional curriculum of this academy. The girl tells Yuno that today they will be going to decide who they are going to serve. Yuno asked her to wait a second. He wondered how they would serve the students from a different academy. She says that once one finds his match, one will of course go to and from the academy together until graduation. Classes or lessons that used to be done as a class will now be held jointly with those from the sister academy, working in pairs, to and from the academy. Yuno claims he didn't know that, and he asks the question which bothers him the most. How does Alice decide who to match up with? She says that she already told him. It will be matchmaking. There are some rules in place for it, though. The girl says that the matchmaking sessions are normally held in the auditorium of the girls' academy. They will be meeting with another person as many times as they need until they find a pairing where both sides are satisfied. The students from the girls' academy received details about them in the Knights' Academy in advance, and so they can nominate the knight of their choosing. Basically speaking, the knights are usually more passive. Yuno realizes what Alice just said. He says that he is looking forward to it, but in reality, the guy is worrying about it really much. He wonders who would be merciful enough to talk to him, considering all the bad rumors floating around about him. Suddenly, Athena calls Yuno. She wonders if he feels well. Yuno assures her that he feels really fine. Yes, that's right. On the physical side of health, but he was definitely a little nervous. He claims that he was just admiring the beauty of the buildings, that's all. Look for a bride from Ferris Joe, the girls' academy. It's a phrase Yuno has once heard before. From the point of view of the girls, it is natural that they would choose a good knight over someone they hardly know about. Unfortunately for Yuno, he is getting a ton of bad impressions right now, such as the shame of Astario, troublemaker, or even incompetent student. So it is expected for him to assume that there is a big chance that he won't be chosen at all. And this battlefield is a garden for girls. The guy is so worried that he can't take any more steps. He supposes this may be some defensive magic. Athena becomes completely shocked watching her hero behave like this. Alice saves the day. She sees numbed Yuno in front of her, wondering what the guy is lagging behind for. He didn't reply to that. She grabs Yuno by the collar and drags him through the gates. Athena is going inside with them. She looks around and tells Yuno that there is pretty inside too. 1. Alice crossed the gates. The girls inside instantly stopped. They looked at her with excitement. After a while, the girls are starting to welcome Alice here. She also greets everyone and admits it's been a while. Looks like she once studied here. The guy admits it is expected of the daughter of the Marquis Rose, one of the 4 most powerful houses. Alice said that she originally planned to attend Ferris Joe. The girls also wondered who were those accompanying Alice. She explained that the girl is actually a god. Her name is Athena, and she has made a pact with Yuno recently. And the guy is Yuno Astario, who made a pact with Athena. But it doesn't look like the girls were about to listen to the story about Yuno. Instead, they gathered around Athena, who caught their eye. They claim she is more pretty than the rumors suggest. They were admiring her cuteness and beauty. The guy was speechless. Was he just ignored at all? Alice tried to cheer him on, but she also had to meet someone she knows. So she wishes Yuno good luck and leaves. The guy was all alone walking through the academy. Yuno was thinking that he should continue to work towards rising Kami-sama rep like that. And while he's in it, the guy decides to speak to some girl in order to improve his impressions as well. Yuno noticed 2 girls who were chatting. They were close enough, so the guy decided that they were sent for him by destiny. He headed to them. Yuno tried to behave like a real knight. He greeted girls and claimed that the weather is fine today. One of the girls called her name, Ara. They said it is a pleasure for them to meet him. The second girl supposed Yuno must be from the Knights' Academy. They said it appears that he is a freshman just like them. They wondered if the guy was looking for someone. The guy responded negatively. He says he is just admiring the beauty of those he passes by. Nice. Then Yuno asks if they two happen to have decided who they are going to talk to. The girls responded that they haven't made a decision yet. One of the girls says that if she was to think about it carefully, she would choose Alice Sama. But the competition for her is quite fierce. Yuno admits that Alice is pretty popular around here. The second girl says that she would prefer Karim Sama. He is probably second in popularity to Alice, so it is a long shot. Crime? Yuno wondered. He admits he doesn't really know his family name, but he is sure that Crame is from a good family. Then the guy wondered what their thoughts were on Yuno Astario. The girls giggled. They say that's never going to happen. One of them claims that she heard that Yuno is quite the bad troublemaker. Then they added that the guy still is from a respectable family, but he is the most worthless member of the Asterio family they have ever brought up. These words hit Yuno hard. Looks like his chances to be chosen are getting even lower. All of a sudden, the girls ask his name. Moreover, they would like to hear a little of his background story as well. Plus, the second girl was about to say her name. Unfortunately, when they looked at the place where Yuno was standing a few seconds earlier, they saw nothing but an empty hall. That conversation really took him off guard. Yuno was pissed. He didn't know that he was hated so much. He was fired up and walked through the hall like a raging knight. The guy sits near the closest door and sighs. It looks like he is really at a loss here. At this rate, he really is going to have to… What? Looks like someone was talking. He could hear it through the door. The voice asked someone to repeat the words. Yuno peeks inside. It looks like a quarrel. The eldest daughter of a marquis family was accused of being impolite. The guy wondered if this would become a fight eventually. There were 4 girls in the room, but 3 of them were blaming one girl. Yuno thought this is the truth of the world of these girls. He assumed he shouldn't have seen it. But he wonders why those 3 girls should be having an advantage over her yet. The girl wondered if those 3 really didn't catch what she said. So she suggests she say it one last time. She told them to get out of her sight this instant since they are such an eyesore. Those 3 girls were frustrated. This girl dared to say such words to them not only once but twice. 3 girls warned her that she will face the consequences. The girl replied she is glad to see them try, but she claims it is absolutely impossible if they crowd together like that. The opposite girl smiled. She was ready to attack. She said that the Marquise's daughter is in for a world of hurt now. The girl with a book and glasses started to draw a circle on the floor. She, who threatened the Marquise's daughter, was standing, smiling, and waiting. As for the girl, she stays nonchalant. She just asked if they realized what they were doing. The arrogant girl smirked. Suddenly, the circle became a portal. After a few seconds, goblins started to rise from beneath. The arrogant girl says that the Marquise's daughter couldn't expect this. Always ordering others around. Wouldn't this make for a good taste of your medicine? The arrogant girl asks. Those goblins were ready to attack the girl any minute. Those monsters rushed forward, ready to tear the girl apart. The arrogant girl told her that she will wish she never offended them in the first place. Then 3 of them left. Before that, they wished the girl a pleasant day. Yuno thought he had to help. The girl kept standing there and asked the monsters not to come any closer. She claims they will regret it if they do. Goblins stopped for a second. Was she a real deal, they thought? Their hunger and lust overcome them eventually. Even though the girl looked at them with her deadly gaze, the goblins decided to attack her. Yuno was watching it. He prepared to interfere and help the girl. After a second, the monsters jumped at her. Yuno rushed to help the girl. The girl numbs. She asks them to have a good look, while her hand reaches a dagger. The girl could stab monsters with a dagger, but it seems she is not up for fighting. Instead, she keeps her high posture and noble manners and puts the blade to her neck like the real aristocrat. The girl says that she will not let them take it while she is alive. Yuno had to do it all quickly. Any hesitation could cost really much. He jumps forward and takes out the dagger from her hands. When he showed up, the girl was amazed by his speed, but the goblins were pissed off about Yuno's presence. He interrupted their lunch and… Anyway, they were about to attack him. What were they thinking about? Looks like those monsters are really dumb. Yuno sliced them like cabbage leaves. He was fast, precise, and nonchalant as he always was. When it comes to battles, there are not many who can compete with him. After he took down all the monsters, Yuno lends a dagger back to the girl. He wishes her a good day and explains that he just happened to be passing by. The girl took a dagger. She says it looks like she is supposed to thank him. The girl puts the dagger back to the sheath, but the guy says that he should be going now. She wondered if he was not going to introduce himself. Yuno hesitates. Something familiar was about this girl. Yuno replies that he is unworthy of introducing himself. He knew it. This girl reminded him of his elder sister. It was she who claimed that Yuno has a secret talent. She also set their father that it will be a disgrace to the Asterio name if he will banish Yuno, who is the heir of this family. Yuno's sister claimed she would rather give up her life than to live with such shame. At that moment, she put the blade to her neck just like this girl did. The guy admits that if his sister had not done such a thing at the time, he would have been living a carefree life right now. Therefore, his sixth sense is telling him that it would be in his best interest to not get involved with this girl. He decides to get himself the heck out of here since he has had enough of getting himself into trouble. But just when he was about to leave, something unexpected happened. The girl called her name. Luna. Her name is Luna Flame. Yuno didn't answer. Luna wondered what's the matter. She says that there is no way the guy is going to stay silent after she has just introduced herself. Yuno turned his face to Luna. She couldn't see it, but the guy was bothered by her request. At this point, he was sure as hell that calling his name will never lead to something good. So he lied to her. Yuno said that his name is Maru Byrne, and he is the second son of the Count. The guy bowed to her and said that he is pleased to become acquainted with Luna. After Yuno and Athena came into the Academy's auditorium, matchmaking venue, a strange feeling captured his mind once again. He called it the barrier magic, but it was that. It was Yuno's understanding that he has a really small chance to be chosen, and he didn't want to be an outsider anymore. But what could he do? Was there someone who would choose him despite his reputation? The guy claims that for the past week he has been making visits to Ferris Joe to find a match. Not a single girl greeted him, let alone approach him in the first place. "Yuno, son, don't you worry," said Athena. She said that she is sure there is some person out there who understands how great Yuno is. Athena claims Yuno just has to do his best, and everything will be all right. The guy admits that her kindness is healing his heart. Then Yuno heard some girls asking Alice to become their knight. They surrounded Alice and kept asking her. She was disturbed by their behavior. Alice told them to get out of the way for a moment. Soon enough, the girls start quarreling for Alice. No one wanted to let the other one have Alice as a knight. Athena admits Alice is surely popular around here. Of course she is. After all, she has the best exam score. The guy explains that Alice is the daughter of one of the most powerful families and is at the top of her class. Besides, if Yuno was a girl, he claims he would have chosen Alice without any hesitation. All of a sudden, Alice apologized in front of everyone. She raises her head and says that she has already had her heart set on someone. She has longed to become the sword of that someone ever since she was a child, and have been working towards getting stronger for that up to this point. The girls who surrounded her were disappointed and upset, but they weren't angry with Alice. They understand her choice. Even Yuno didn't know that Alice already had her heart set on someone. All of a sudden, the girl said that if someone is still looking for a partner, she might recommend Yuno Astario. Well, that might be a good idea. After all, Yuno had a recommendation from Alice, the top of her class. The girls should listen to her, right? Oh my. Looks like even Alice's recommendation couldn't save Yuno. After the girls heard about Yuno, the whole crowd ran away in a few seconds. Alice didn't lose her optimism, though. Even in a situation like this, she continued to cheer up Yuno. The guy thought this is in vain now. He wished her to stop and give up on him. Yuno listened to some girls chatting. They claim that Creme-sama and Alice-sama have already decided on their partners. The guy admits that there are some who are approached by more than one girl, while there are also others, like him, who get no attention at all. It blows his mind, such a terrible feeling. Could it be that he is the only one feeling this miserable? The only one who hasn't been approached at all? Suddenly, Yuno looks back. He meets his gaze with Maru's. Both guys are silent. Maybe Yuno actually is not the only one who didn't get any attention. Why would Maru be sitting there all by himself then? Maru tries to mock Yuno. He wonders if there is no one to approach Yuno. "Doesn't it also apply to you as well?" Yuno asks. The guy read his opponent perfectly because Maru started to deny it, saying that they are not the same at all. Baru is bragging that he just happened to have turned down a bunch of girls just now. But he claims to not get him wrong, and it's not that Maru is unpopular or anything. Yuno admits Maru is definitely lying, but it wouldn't be entirely impossible in his case. After all, he has a rich family and quite a fluent magic user. All of a sudden, Maru tells Yuno not to worry. He claims that there will be some aid to those like Yuno. Aid? Yuno wonders. Maru explains that if the matchmaking fails, one will be still paired up with someone else who couldn't pair up. It's a system which prevents the exposure of miserable ones with no princess to protect until graduation. And Yuno is actually lucky. The guy smiles. But in reality, he is really upset as this doesn't change the fact that he is unsold gold. If it was just him on the line, then he couldn't care much about fingers pointing at him. What would the others think about Athena, who had made a pact with such unsold gold? The guy doesn't want this for her. Suddenly, he hears her voice. Looks like Athena is promoting Yuno's name in order for him to be chosen. Athena claims that Yuno is kind and strong, and his princess will have many other benefits if chooses Yuno. The guy admits Athena is working really hard for his sake. So what is he getting all skittish about? Yuno turns around and leaves arrogant kid Maru. The guy steps to the center of the room and presents himself. He says that he is Yuno from the Asterio family. He asks if someone will make him her knight. Yuno asks someone to allow him to protect her. He tries his best. Luckily, some girl approached him. She seems familiar to Yuno. That's right. This is the girl who he met in the corridor earlier. Yuno apologizes for suddenly disappearing, but the girl says it's fine, and he shouldn't feel sorry about that. The girl claims it is she who should be apologizing since she said such a thing not knowing that the guy was Yuno. The guy asks her not to worry much about it. She looks glad and thanks him for forgiveness. She introduces herself. Her name is Ein Stott, but Yuno may feel free to call her just Ein. Yuno was really impressed. For the first time, the conversation went very smoothly. He said that it is a pleasure to know her name, and then the guy was about to introduce himself one more time. If he wasn't mistaken, Ein has chosen him as her knight. That was wonderful. Yuno stood on one knee and started to say his name. Suddenly, a big door behind him opened and someone entered the room. Everyone numbed and looked at the girl who had just entered the auditorium. The girls were shocked as they couldn't believe their own eyes. It was Luna Flame, but they called her Solitary Moon. Yuno asked Ein about the solitary moon. The girl wondered that Yuno didn't know about Luna-sama. The guy explains that he knows her name at least, but he is wondering what all the fuss is about. Ein tells him that Luna is part of one of the most powerful families, daughter of the Marquis Flame. The fact that she has appeared here is extraordinary. The guy wonders who that is. Ein says that from the very first day Luna enrolled, she made it clear she would not partake in this traditional event of matchmaking. She is also famous for her misanthropy. Solitary Moon can also be interpreted as Luna the Lonesome. Luna was passing by when two knights bowed before her. It was Crame and Alice themselves. Crame said it is a pleasure to meet Luna, and he introduced himself. Crame Elrode, a legitimate child of the Count Elrode's house. Alice replied that it's been a while since they saw each other. Everybody was looking at this. Both Crame and Alice went to Luna. This means they planned to become her knight. No wonder Alice was part of the Rose family, which was one of the most powerful families. And this guy, Crame, the House of Elrode is a famous family that prides themselves on valor, just like the Asterio family. Coupled with a face like this, it is no wonder he has attracted such attention from the girls. Alice asked Luna if the fact that she came here means that she has changed her mind. Luna responds that she didn't change her mind and she still wishes to be alone. But in any case, there are rules in place that make her have a knight regardless. Rather than having a knight be chosen for her from who knows where, Luna assumes it would be more meaningful for her to make a decision for it herself. In that case, Alice suggests Luna allow her to be by Luna's side. As promised, Alice has trained her abilities to be second to none in this room. Crame also tries to promote himself. He does this desperately, but Luna didn't seem to care. She says that she is aware that Alice has become the top of her class, but Luna asks her if she is really sure that she is the strongest. Alice wondered what Luna meant by that. Solitary Moon replies that truly strong people do not pride themselves on being strong. Then Alice wondered who Luna thinks is really strong. Luna says that this is Maru Byrne. You can laugh now. Looking at Maru's face is truly fun. The guy was completely shocked by what Luna said, but as she asked him to come closer, Maru couldn't refuse. Maru smirked at Yuno and headed to Luna. He told her that he had come by her request. Then the arrogant guy introduced himself once more. Maru Byrne, the second son of Count Byrne. Crame and Alice felt so awkward. Does Luna refuse them only to have a weirdo as her knight? Maru was shining because of his pride. Luna tried not to look at him. She was quiet for a while. Then she wondered who he was anyway. Maru didn't get her. Alice tried to help them both and told Luna that it is actually Maru Byrne in front of her. Luna replies that she gets it. She wondered if Alice knows any male student with a black hair, a more or less attractive face, and his eyes are clouded and wears a perverted expression. Dark hair, clouded and perverted eyes. Could it be Yuno? Luna noticed him and told Alice that this is him. She asked to bring Yuno to her. Alice grabs Yuno's collar and brings him to Luna. Alice says that the guy's name is Yuno Astario and looks like he is quite a celebrity. Luna says that she will be giving him a chance. She asks the guy to become her knight. Yuno hesitates. Maru couldn't take it anymore. He yelled at Luna, saying that this has no sense at all. Luna, who forgot that Maru was still there, told him that he may leave now. Alice was also bothered by the fact that Luna chose Yuno over her. She asked why. Luna responded that it is simple. She has taken a liking to Yuno. Maru says that he can't understand Luna's choice. He claims that this is a mistake as Yuno is the third son of the famously incompetent Astario family. Luna asks if Yuno is also the one who defeated 10 opponents at once during his first mock battle. Maru says this is true, but that's because he is the only freshman who made a pact with a god. He says that Yuno is only able to use his god-given ability spear arts. Just take away his spear and you're left with just an incompetent who cannot wield a sword or use magic. Yuno's only wish was for Maru to shut up. Luna claims that this is a really interesting story. She wonders if Yuno would be completely helpless if she would give him this dagger. Maru says that Luna is absolutely right. The arrogant kid claims that Yuno wouldn't be able to scratch a goblin with this. That's because his spear arts wouldn't work without a long object. The girl giggles. She claims this is interesting and absolutely intriguing. Then Luna wonders what will be Yuno's answer to all of that. She also says that she is really excited to hear one. The guy was in a bad situation. He admits that the air of nobility and beauty of hers are certainly refreshing, but her manners and appearance, she takes a lot from his elder sister. The guy doesn't like the idea of becoming Luna's knight. But what else can he do? Besides, he looks at Athena. That might just be his final gamble. He brings Athena to Luna and apologizes. Yuno claims that he has already decided to become her knight. He apologizes to Kami-sama and asks her to speak with Luna for him. At first, Athena was looking at Yuno with surprise, but then she agreed to help him. Athena says that she is the one who decided to pair up with Yuno. Luna claims that she doesn't seem to recognize her. She asks if Athena is from class 1 or 2. Athena says she is from class 1. Luna caught her. She says that there is no such class in the academy. They only have the classes Flower, Bird, Wind, and Moon. Yuno's plan was ruined once again. Luna asked him to give up since he doesn't represent his family by making a fool of himself. The girls were gossiping that Yuno was quite rude to Luna. Looks like this is it. He will be Luna's knight eventually. Athena said that she is glad that Yuno found someone. She assumed Luna would be a good match for him. Alice looked at them with pity. She asks Luna one last time if she believes Yuno's abilities are superior to her. Luna told the girl that she may never know this, but at least she doesn't believe that Yuno is at all incompetent. Alice was really upset to hear this. Yuno looked at her, wondering why she chose to attend the academy for the knights. In the end, he couldn't have known that she did this to fulfill a promise she gave to Luna. He would never have thought that Alice would take the hand of Luna. But even then, Alice is still a really good friend to him. Yuno was asked to pronounce the oath. I, Yuno Astario, the third son of the Astario family, from this day forth, will become a sword of Luna Flame, and hereby swear to protect you, the guy said. Looks like everybody is really glad for Yuno and Luna. Did I say everybody? Oh no, not quite. You see, Maru was as always envying Yuno, therefore he wasn't glad for him or Luna at all. Luna smiled. She says that she will certainly not bore the guy. The scene takes place at the estate of the Duke of Flame. Luna wonders if her action was the one her father asked her for. She says that she had chosen herself a knight, after he had strongly insisted on Luna getting her one. She claims her father told her anyone is fine. The Duke was pissed. He wonders where he said anyone. The Duke points at Yuno and asks Luna why of all people she had chosen Astario's incompetence. The man was enraged. He claims that he has been overheard that Yuno's own father, the former sword saint, had even given up on him. Although Yuno was born into a family of military prowess, since Yuno cannot even handle a sword or cast magic, he won't be able to handle being a knight. Luna stops her father. She says that it was Yuno who saved her life. She tells her father to not dare calling her savior incompetent. The situation didn't get any better. Her father doubts Luna says the truth. But the Duke's daughter says that Yuno had made a pact with a god and was blessed with spear arts. Besides, he defeated 10 opponents during his first mock battle at the academy. Argos tells her he doesn't believe it. He assumes this is just a mere joke among the students. And about Athena. Argos wonders if his daughter supposes a stray god who has been labeled as incompetent and was unable to form a pact with anyone for 12 years. The Duke wonders how much more wisdom he can gain from this. Argos claims this is insanity to believe those rumors. Argos claims that the moment Yuno formed a pact with a stray god was the moment he had already proven that he had no bright future ahead of him. The Duke was furious. He knocks on the table. He claims that Yuno has done well to have won over his daughter, but Agros will never accept him as her knight. Then he yelled at Yuno and told him to get out of this place right now. Yuno said he respects Argos, but His Highness the Duke missed something. The guy says he is still a young man, but he is confident that his skills in spear fighting are second to no one. He wonders if the Duke is willing to join him in a bout. He tells Argos that he will be quite pleased with his skills. Luna giggles. She says that is an excellent idea, and she gives Yuno permission to go all out. The Duke raises. He accepts Yuno's offer. The man asks Yuno to show him if he is truly capable of saving his daughter's life. But Yuno won't be facing the Duke himself. Instead, Argos says that the guy will fight his weakest servant. Should Yuno be able to defeat him, the Duke will recognize the guy as his daughter's knight. Weakest? Luna asked. Yuno gets a little nervous. Argos asked them to follow him. Everybody gathered near the Duke's residence. The Duke prepared to watch a battle. His daughter was sitting beside him, while Yuno was holding his spear, which was real this time. Luna said something to him. The girl said that if he was wondering, she wouldn't be able to know if he is easing up against the opponent. Yuno didn't know if it was his sixth sense or what, but for some reason he knew that Luna didn't doubt his true potential. Yuno promised her that he will win this match. The Duke was waiting for the battle to begin. It doesn't seem like he cared about Yuno and Luna's conversation. All he wanted is his servant to defeat Yuno and then kick him out of the palace. As for Yuno, this bout was not just for Luna or to prove his abilities. It was a fight for Athena as well, for her fame. Here comes Yuno's enemy. He is quite a polite man as he instantly apologizes for being late. An old man. He says that he is pleased to be Yuno's partner in this bout. And the old man introduces himself. His name is Claude. He will face a butler? Yuno was confused. The old man says that he was truly ecstatic when he had heard that Luna found herself a knight. She found someone she can put her trust in, and it is Yuno. Yuno claims he doesn't want to hurt this old man, but he doesn't know how far he will go with this. Claude takes off his monocle. He asks if Argos is really positive on this. The Duke asks Claude to give it his all. Luna calls Yuno. It seems she has some useful information she wants to share with him. The girl asks him to take this match seriously. Yuno wonders what she is talking about. The Duke tells them to begin at his signal. Claude grabbed his sword's handle. Yuno squeezed his spear. The guy felt this battle won't be easy. The old man gives Yuno some words of advice. The guy was surprised about this. Claude continued. He said that if Yuno was thinking that he is nothing but an old sack of bones, Argos told them to begin. The guy was sorely mistaken. With these words, Claude suddenly appeared right behind Yuno's back. He prepared to attack Yuno with his sword. Yuno was truly surprised about this old man's speed. It looked like he just vanished. The guy turned back and saw the incoming attack. Claude swept his sword, attacking the place where Yuno was standing. However, the guy was fast as well. He managed to change his position, so Claude's attack cut nothing but air. The old man looks like he has predicted this. Claude smirks a little bit. Then he instantly attacks Yuno with his blade once again. This time faster than previous. Yuno didn't escape the attack, but he managed to block it. Yuno held his spear under the pressure of Claude's blade. This old man was much more powerful than he seemed at first glance. The guy was scared. This old man is the weakest servant of the Duke? Looks like the Duke didn't expect that. He was shocked that Yuno could block such an attack. Meanwhile, Luna was satisfied by Yuno's performance. Then the old man uses his teleportation trick once again. He appears behind Yuno and prepares to cut him with a sword. The guy wasn't in a mood to just stand there and wait for Claude's next attack. This time, he takes the battle more seriously. He turns around and pokes the old man with a spear. Claude was able to cover himself with his sword's blade. The old man lands on his feet and sweeps his sword one more time. Yuno dodges it. Then Claude raises his sword for the second hit. Yuno pokes his spear forward one more time. The spear and the sword clashed. Claude was impressed by Yuno's abilities. He wondered who on earth began to call him incompetent. Yuno responded that he doesn't know, but he wonders who says that Claude is the weakest. Looks like those two will eventually be friends. Argos was frustrated. He raises up once more and yells at Claude, asking him what he is doing. Then the Duke ordered the old man to finish Yuno quickly. Luna, on the other hand, wished they would move slower as she couldn't see much. "Looks like we are both in for a rough time from now on," Claude says. Yuno agrees with the old butler, but he wonders if this is for real. Will he be able to continue? Looks like he will. After all, he has no other option. Even if he is fighting just a little bit seriously, he promises himself to do better next time. Meanwhile, Claude was ready to deliver a tremendous strike with a sword. The guy swept his spear in order to reach Claude, but to his surprise, he touched nothing but air. The old man disappeared one more time. As always, he appeared behind Yuno. Looks like there is some pattern in the old man's attacks. Claude closed the distance quickly and prepared to kick Yuno. The old man used his sword to distract Yuno. While he was blocking Claude's blade, Yuno was kicked in the belly with a foot. It was painful enough. How much strength does this old man have? It wasn't the right time for thinking, though. Claude changes his stance once more and delivers a side kick to Yuno. The kick was so powerful that Yuno's spear fell from the guy's hands. Looks like the battle is all over now. Yuno was taken down for sure. However, he was glad about that. Not that he likes to lose, or that he wanted to lose this fight. It's not the case. Yuno smiled because he finally met a person with whom he should become a little more serious. And that person was Claude. The Duke was satisfied to see the incompetent Astario laying on the ground. He congratulated Claude with a victory, but claimed it was a really long fight. As for Claude, the old man looked concerned. Maybe he didn't expect that Yuno would fall that easily after one kick. Yuno was laying on the ground thinking about his strength in this fight. He claims that he doesn't know the full extent of what he is capable of. He could control the power on the verge of breaking out, but he has still yet to know how to wield it properly. From mock battles to defeating goblins, he didn't do much up until this time. And yes, those were done with enough as a little bit of effort. But this time, to what extent he is able to go with this person? Luna stands up and tells her father that this battle is far from over. She heads to the guy. The Duke's daughter says she doesn't particularly dislike Yuno's unrestrained stance. In fact, she rather likes it. But the guy must remember that he is the knight Luna chose. This means that he may not be defeated until she gives her permission. Luna asks Yuno if they are clear. He smiled, even though this is an absurd argument to make, but he took no offense to it. Luna told him that in case he understood her, he better not be resting in that spot forever. She asks him to get up at once. Yuno was amazed by the words she said to him. "I know you can do it, Yuno." Those words made him blush. He immediately gets up. The guy claims that using this face is unfair. He wished Luna could just stay as she normally does. She acts as if nothing happened and wonders what Yuno meant by that. The guy claims she is very quick to change. The guy was reluctant to get up. He claims he didn't really want to do that, though. Meanwhile, Argos yells at his servant and claims Claude is cutting corners in his task. All of a sudden, the old man asks his senior to stay quiet. The old man tells Yuno that he won't be holding back now since his lord wishes for his victory. Yuno smirked. He says that this is actually a coincidence and he won't be holding back either, since Luna wishes for his victory. Claude gives Yuno one last word of advice. He asks the guy to keep his eyes on him, but Yuno has his own plans for this battle. The guy raises his spear, preparing to throw it in Claude. Yuno smirks and asks the old man to avoid this. Claude's nonchalant, cold expression changes instantly. With the speed of light, Yuno throws his spear at Claude, trying to pierce the old man. Claude barely dodges the attack by stepping aside. Yuno's throw was so powerful that his spear was like a shot from a grenade launcher. The spear smashed everything on its way, turning trees into a bunch of chopped wood. Claude numbed. This power. It was hard to confess, but the old man was scared by this kid. There is no way someone like him be incompetent. Argos's eyes are popping out of his head. The Duke was speechless. His daughter, who was sitting beside him, was startled at first. But then she smirked. This was exactly what she wanted. Yuno finally showed his powers. Claude was not only a really strong swordsman, but he was quite a wise old man. He took into account Yuno's last attack and did some calculations. Then he lowered his head and said he forfeits. Claude's words shocked Argos, Yuno, and Luna. Argos was absolutely upset because of this. He raises up and heads to Claude. The Duke still didn't want to believe that his Claude was defeated by this young kid. The guy was cheered up. He admits that after this battle, the Duke can't say anything bad about Athena anymore. Luna steps closer to Yuno. She congrats him with the victory and says that Yuno should be proud of himself. She says that Yuno just defeated the only knight her father had ever had by his side. Yuno was startled. And yet this old man was called the weakest? Luna says that, truly speaking, Claude used to be the head of the kingdom's knights. Up against previous sword saints, it has been said that he essentially goes head-to-head in skill with them, including Yuno's father. What? The guy wonders then how it was that he was called the weakest. Yuno also wants to know why Luna kept it from him, if she knew this all along. She said it would be boring if she said this. The Duke's daughter says that it was a perfect chance to see what Yuno is truly made of. Besides, she claims that she won't let him make excuses for losing. Yuno admits this girl is truly a tricky one. Then she wonders if she and her father are clear with her decision. The Duke abandoned his attempts to make his daughter change her mind. He hasn't fully realized what had just happened here. However, he turned head to his daughter and told her to do as she likes. So that was how this day began. Yuno had officially become Luna's knight. The girl says that this is it and wonders if Yuno is glad. Yuno looked at her. He admits that at first he was intuitively fearful of Luna. But to serve the famed daughter of one of the 4 powerful families, it might not be that bad of a deal for him and Athena. Besides, he thinks that now he has to spend more time with Luna. Yuno replies that he is glad to be her knight. Then the girl asks what she is to him. Yuno says she is a great and beautiful master both inside and out. Luna says she is satisfied. Then she asks Yuno to follow her. She was going to show him his room. Yuno numbed and wondered if he heard her right, and she was really going to show him his room. The girl claims that from this day forward, he will be living here with the Duke's family. You are my pawn, so this is a given, is it not? Luna asks. A little girl wonders who is Oni-chan. Yuno smiles and introduces himself. He says that he is Luna's assigned knight, Yuno Astario. He says that it is a pleasure to meet her. But the guy admits that rather he should be asking that to her. The little girl laughs. She says that Yuno must be joking about this. She doesn't believe he is Luna's knight. The guy at least knows that this is Luna's younger sister, and she already mocked him during their first meeting. What a failure. The guy also says that this little girl looks like a little version of Luna. And speaking of Luna, she seems to be taking quite some time. Yuno was officially recognized as Luna's knight by her father, and from today onwards he is going to be living here in the estate of the Flame family. Luna left the room after telling Yuno to wait here and hasn't returned since. She doesn't happen to be searching for her sister, could she? The guy's only hope is that they didn't accidentally pass each other. He looked at the younger sister and she was still laughing. Oh my gosh, how long can she do that? But Yuno admits this girl is quite cute. He wonders if there was a point in time when Luna was like this. While Yuno was waiting for Luna, her sister brought a chalice for the guy, and she apologized for keeping him waiting. The guy thanked her and admitted that she is quite young, yet she knows how to deal with guests. This is wonderful considering that Yuno has never had to deal with guests, especially not at her age. The girl says that Yuno has a strange feeling around him. The guy was confused with her words. What kind of feeling? She claimed that surprisingly, she wasn't scared by him. Yuno thinks that he has ever been told he was scary before. He smiles. Then a little girl says it is the time and raises. The girl turns to Yuno and asks the guy to raise her. Do what? What is this little girl thinking of herself in the first place? But no one ever can refuse in this situation. Even such a mighty guy like Yuno. He takes her on hands and raises up. The guy plays with Luna's little sister and asks if he raises her well. She is smiling, which means Yuno is doing well. He likes the fact that he didn't misunderstand her. Then she asks Yuno to give her a big hug. Yuno refuses. The guy claims there is no way this is going to happen. But the girl whines and asks for a hug. Yuno asks her not to get him wrong. He says that it wouldn't do them any favor if they take his head for it. He also mentions that he is far older than her, so Luna's sister must forgive him, but he won't hug her. Then she blackmails Yuno and tells him if he doesn't hug her, she says something to Luna. Yuno wonders what she is going to say to her sister. The little girl says that she will tell Luna that Yuno told her he likes little girls like her over Luna's age. The guy instantly hugs the little blackmail Dukas. He claims this child is absolutely terrifying. Little girl smirks. Yuno asks if she is satisfied now, but she responds that she is not. The guy asks this little Dukas to give him a break. He says that there is going to be a problem for him if Luna sees them like this. Speaking of problems, someone opened the door, telling by the shoes it is likely that Luna came back. The thing that Yuno was afraid of the most happened. Luna saw him hugging her sister. Quite an embarrassing situation. Luna just entered the room and saw her knight was hugging her sister. I guess someone will be hurt. The little tricky kid rushed to Luna instantly. She told her sister that she was absolutely scared while she was gone. Yuno felt Luna's cold gaze. But it wasn't him. He tells Luna that it is not what it looks like. Oh man, look at this sly little girl. She definitely planned this all from the beginning. Yuno tries to explain everything and says that everything is not what it seems. The girl wondered what it had to seem. She noticed the chalice on the table and wondered if her sister served this to Yuno. The guy confirmed. Luna says she gets it now. She pats a little girl on the head and calls her Elise. Luna wondered if Elise had a chance to introduce herself. The girl responded that she hadn't. Elder sister tells Elise should do that on her own. The little girl agrees. She does a reverence and says that she is the second daughter of the House of Flame, Elise Flame. She says that she is pleased to make the guy's acquaintance. No, you won't fool me again. The guy says that Elise may be cute, but he will stay sharp to her manipulations. Luna asks him not to worry. She claims that she has a good idea of what Elise tried to do to Yuno. But Luna claims she is surprised. She explains that such behavior is not inherent to her sister. Elise usually stays shy around strangers. Even when her father tries to approach her, she would tuck her tail and flee. Even as far as treating her own father as a stranger? Yuno wonders what her father even looks like to her. Then Yuno wondered why Luna made him wait here. The girl says that someone should be here any moment. I wonder whom she's speaking about. Then the door opens and Athena shows up. I really missed her. Yuno was as glad as I am. Kami-sama. Yuno welcomes Athena. The god greets him too. Athera was running to Yuno to hug the guy, but she didn't make it. Just when she was close enough, the sly girl who was sitting on the couch decided that since Athena looks so pretty, she must hug her no matter what. Elise dashed forward and caught Athena in her hugs. Athena fell down. Elise started to pat the goddess. The girl claims Athena's skin is so smooth and her hair is silky. Elise's touch tickles Athena. She starts laughing. Luna says that the staff informed her Athena was wandering in front of the estate, so she brought her along with herself. Luna tells Yuno that they are also in the middle preparing Athena's chamber, so it's only fitting Luna did. The guy was amazed. He wondered if this means that Athena will be staying with them as well. Luna smiled. She wondered if that is not what he wanted. Luna and Yuno looks at Athena's smile. Luna says that Athena is the guy's motive. Yuno says that she is. He thanks Luna for what she's done. All of a sudden, the door opens. A woman shows up at the door. She wonders if this boy by Luna's side is her knight. Yuno was amazed and shocked to see this woman. She was standing far enough, but the vibe she emitted was magnificent. Luna called this woman mother. Yuno became embarrassed and shy in front of the Duchess herself. He dashed forward to this woman and fell on his knee. He immediately introduced himself. I'm Yuno Astario, third son of the Astario family. It's a pleasure to meet you. The guy was tense and nervous. The Duchess giggles and tells him that she is the wife of the Duke of Flame, Charlotte Flame. Then she added that Yuno may call her Charl. Charlotte says that she heard that her husband caused some of the guy's troubles. Yuno said that's not like that. But the woman said that she will be sure to give her husband an earful later, and she asked for an apology. Yuno admitted that he is starting to see who in their relationship has power over this house. Then everyone sat on the couch having some tea. The Duchess told Yuno that she never thought her daughter would find herself a knight. Luna wondered if there is a problem with that. Her mother said, of course there's not. It's just she was surprised, that's all. Meanwhile, the youngest Duchess, Elise, claims her sister Luna is unfair to the other ladies. Elise says she also wants Yuno as well. Luna giggled and said that Elise can't do that, since Yuno is her. The little girl was upset to hear that. No! She yells at her sister. The girl headed to Yuno and told Luna that she likes him too. The girl was desperate to remain Yuno for herself. She almost cried. Yuno had no idea of what he was supposed to do. He whined and told Elise to be rational. Athena, who sat beside Yuno, smiled. She was glad the guy became so popular. She says it was Luna who chose him as her knight, so it's no wonder she has taken a liking to him. The Duchess confirms her words. But then the woman says she has been wondering for a while if this cute girl is Athena Sama, who she's been hearing a lot about. Athena says her name and lowers her head. The goddess says it is a pleasure to meet the Duchess. The Duchess claims Athena is a beautiful goddess, as Luna told her. Luna, who sat beside her mother, was happy about all this. She was glad to see everyone together talking like this. Then the Duchess assumes that her Kami-sama would be surprised to see Athena. The guy was startled by the Duchess's words. He wondered if Charlotte had her own god, because that would mean that she has made a pact with God as well. Charlotte confirms this. Woman smiles. She says that she made a pact with Astaroth-sama, the goddess of love and beauty. Yuno was amazed about that. The guy admits that at the moment he met Charles-sama, he just knew she wasn't just any ordinary person. Besides, he is surprised she had made a pact with such an incredibly renowned goddess. The goddess of love and beauty, Astaroth. There isn't anyone who does not know her name. She is such a famous goddess, even Yuno knows her name. Suddenly his face changes. He lowers his head and wonders if he is supposed to be aware of this. Yuno looks at Athena and the things don't seem good. She has such an expression like she just had a breakdown after hearing the name of Astaroth. Just a second after Athena starts panicking, she grabs her head with her own hands, her whole body shaking. Yuno touches her shoulders in order to comfort the goddess. He wonders what's happening and why his goddess behaves this way. Charlotte and Luna were amazed as well. Was it all because Athena heard the name of Charlotte's goddess? She can barely speak, even though she says something to Yuno. She didn't say much. Athena just apologized to Yuno for some reason. I wonder why she did this. Looks like it is connected with Astaroth somehow. Seconds later, everybody hears a strange noise. The space in front of them is curving. It looks like a portal or something. Someone is coming to the party. Yuno sees this first. And it doesn't look pretty safe. Instead, this hole is starting to suck in the air, which reminds me of the black holes in space. The guy asks everyone to stay back. He wonders what that is. The guy claims it didn't seem like magic at all. Then, he says it is not as simple as magic. A girl shows up from the portal. Yuno sees her for the first time, but Athena seems like she knows who this is. We can tell it by her eyes. She looks startled, amazed, and scared a little bit. The girl who just appeared sits on the edge of the portal like she doesn't care about it. She looks at Yuno with interest and asks if he just spoke about her. The guy covers Athena with himself, protecting his goddess from being hurt. But luckily, it seems no one is going to be hurt. Charlotte seems excited when she sees the girl. This girl was none other than Astaroth herself. Yuno didn't step back. The guy stood there and continued to protect Athena. He felt it. The ominous power of that being, the goddess Astaroth. Was every well-known god strong like that? Charlotte recognized her goddess, but still was holding her daughters in lovely hugs. She greets Astaroth. The goddess landed on the floor and claimed it had been a while. Her smile looks innocent and quite friendly, but Yuno wonders what's hidden behind this smile. Anyway, the goddess greets everyone and wonders if Charlotte's been doing well. Charlotte claims it really has been long. She says it has been around 3 years since they last met like this. Astaroth was startled that it had been so long. Yuno was looking at her with interest. So this is how she looks, Astaroth, the goddess of beauty and love. Charlotte says that by now she was beginning to think Astaroth was not going to see her again. But the goddess claims there is no way this was going to happen, as Charlotte is her favorite and really special for goddess. The guy headed to Athena and tried to cheer her up. He said that it's fine and it was just Astaroth who appeared, but her face still was scared. Athena wished Astaroth would not notice her. But Astaroth steps forward to Athena and Yuno. She leaned right to Athena's face and asked who she was. Athena looked at Astaroth like a little puppy. Maybe they weren't familiar to each other, but it is definitely something that bothers Athena about Astaroth. Athena was numbed and scared. She couldn't utter a single word. Charlotte tells Astaroth that the goddess's name is Athena. Astaroth looked back at the Duchess with her evil eyes. She said that this young goddess is a stray god, so there must be someone who gave this name to her. Astaroth wonders who that was. Yuno steps ahead. He says it was him who had given the name to a goddess. Astaroth smirked. She steps closer to Yuno and tells him that she gets it now. But then she wondered why he chose to call her Athena. Astaroth kept that friendly face of her, but the atmosphere was tense. It was clear that the goddess felt rage, but hadn't shown it yet. Yuno responds that he is not exactly sure why. The goddess then says that there is one more thing. Astaroth puts her hand on Yuno's shoulder and asks who is that within him. Her eyes are on fire. She seems to see right through Yuno. Looks like the guy starts to realize this. Her smile tells more than enough to know that. Can she feel the power of Zeus? He didn't know that. The Duchess and her daughters were interested in what Astaroth said. Yuno wasn't intended to tell her about Zeus. He replied that the one inside him is probably him. She probably wasn't satisfied by such an answer. Astaroth seemed disappointed and bothered. I doubt she buys it. The guy was also concerned. He wondered what she was trying to pull off here. Astaroth stepped a little away from Yuno. The guy wondered what's bothering her. She turned her face to Yuno and said, "This is boring." Then she raised her hand and pointed it at Yuno. The goddess created a huge magic beam with her hand and shot it at Yuno. The guy was fast. He changes his position and kicks the beam with a foot before the beam gets him. Yuno reflected the attack to the side. It was a marvelous skill of the guy. But I guess the Duke won't be happy anyway, since after this he has to do some renovations. The goddess was truly amazed by this guy. At the same time, she wondered how he got such skills. The Duchess was in panic. She asked why Astaroth did it so suddenly. Fortunately, her daughters weren't scared at all, especially her youngest daughter, Elise. On the contrary, the little Duchess was excited by Yuno's ability. Yuno was prepared for everything. A broken window was a clear sign that this goddess can do anything anytime. Moreover, that means that Athena was in danger as well. Astaroth grinned. Did she get it? Then she smiled as if nothing happened and claimed that Yuno passed. The Duchess wondered what it meant that Yuno passed. Astaroth shrugged and told her there is no need to be astonished over it. She says that this boy is her daughter's knight now. Astaroth was not sure whether or not he was suitable for the role, so she came to examine him in person. Charlotte calmed down. It was just a test. Astaroth claims Luna has gotten herself quite the excellent knight. The Duchess Luna has a keen eye for people. The woman says it is an honor for her to hear that. After this, Astaroth says that she must leave now. The Duchess wonders why the goddess is leaving them so soon. Astaroth apologizes and says she has places to go after this meeting. She tells Yuno they will meet again. What was that supposed to mean? Did she figure it all out? Could it be that she felt the power of Zeus in this guy? Then she vanishes in the portal as quickly as she appeared. The guy sighs. He admits that the first moment he saw the goddess Astaroth, he had this odd sense of unease. But now he is starting to feel like an utter idiot. Athena apologizes. She says that she caused Yuno to worry. He claims he is fine and wonders if she feels okay. Yuno looks at the broken window. The guy claims the goddess Astaroth was only concerned for the safety of the one she formed a pact with, Charlotte and her daughters. Athena says that she feels okay. Yuno sits in front of his goddess and says this is a relief to hear. He claims that's because there is no truth to an absurd thought like that. There is no way that the goddess Astaroth isn't truly a deity. Meanwhile, in the underworld, a god was sitting on his throne. The darkness was around him. Only a bunch of fires around him lit up the place. He sat on the throne, staring in front of him. Nothing but darkness here. Such a bore. Claimed him with his deep, low voice. For what reason is he sitting here? Is he imprisoned here? Or was this his home? We don't know yet. But by his grim face and evil eyes, we can tell he is unlikely to be a good guy. It wasn't seen in the dark, but the black portal was opened. The same portal that was in the Duke's house. It was Astaroth. Still the same irritated and dark look on your face as ever I see, she asked. The man in front of her asked what she wanted. The goddess claims that divine realms are so far away, and because of that, he is all lonesome in this place. She claims that if it was her in this place, she would probably die of boredom. The grim expression on man's face hasn't disappeared. With his cold and low voice, he asked once more why she was here. By the tone of his voice, it was clear that she irritates him. She says there is something she wanted to ask him. Astaroth wonders what exactly are stray gods. The goddess claims she knows the basics. They are unnamed gods who were born here in the lower world, about around the same time the other gods came about here. The man listened to her question without any interest, just because there was nothing else to do. Astaroth wants to know if there is something this man is keeping from her that she should know. The man looks at her with disgrace. What is this goddess thinking of herself? Coming here like that, asking such a question. The goddess claims that it is awful of him to keep her in the dark of such details. She has become bored out of her mind ever since she got here. Besides, she supposes he is bored as well. Astaroth raises her hands. She says that even though she has become such a prominent person in this world and has acquired everything, the man is not satisfied yet. So she says neither does she. Astaroth tells him that they are way too strong. In a world where no one comes close to competing with them, even if they want it to, that never happens. This is making her mad. She wonders what they should do about it. Astaroth calls his name, Lucifer. The prince of the underworld precipitated her. Then she created a magical beam and released it to Lucifer. She only did worse to herself. The dark prince collapsed the beam with no problems, but he was furious she attacked him in the first place. It was not only because of the attack itself, but mainly because she disturbed his calmness. The goddess says she had expected this. After all, he really has it in him. But then she was hit. Lucifer hit her with his own magic. Since she didn't avoid it, it is legit to assume that his abilities are superior to Astaroth's. The goddess was slammed at the wall. Her face was injured, but she remained optimistic despite everything. Astaroth told him that the Dark Prince shouldn't just strike a woman's face like this. She claims he has a really bad temper. Finally, Lucifer raises up from his throne. He stepped to Astaroth and asked her what happened in the overworld, but the goddess said that nothing particularly happened. He looked at her with suspicion, but didn't say anything. Then he just turned away. Astaroth was sitting next to the wall. She said that she is absolutely no match for the Dark Prince, and she called him the Supreme God. Then she wondered if it would be better to call him the demon god Satan. The Dark Prince looked at her with his cold gaze. I guess he really wondered if there were any cons to spare her life. In the end, he decided to let her live and just disappeared. So he's gone. And what's more, he didn't answer her question. Well, it doesn't look like she has a need for that. After all, Astaroth claims that she can look for the answer herself. The goddess draws a circle on the ground. With its help, she can watch for Yuno. She says that she found an interesting toy to play with, and she will give it to Lucifer much later. With that being said, she is peeking at Yuno's life. Astaroth claims she is quite surprised there is a man who has the ability to repel her attacks. Yuno Astario, I have great expectations for you, okay? Says the goddess with a smirk. A little Yuno Astario was scrolling through the book. He was looking for a god's name, and he put aside one more book. Not this book either, he says. Somehow the kid remembered the name of the god who bestowed him the powers. He claims he is pretty sure the old man refers to himself as Zeus. Even though his name wasn't in the books, Yuno was sure that Zeus isn't a stray god. But for some reason, his name hadn't been mentioned in any book. Yuno closes one more book. His searches didn't get him closer to true for now. He was upset. Such a bad feeling. Well, this was only the least of his problems. He was born with powers beyond humans' control. That's the main problem. Yuno recalled the moment he was born. The baby Yuno was scared of the old man with a beard in front of him. He was pointing at Zeus and asked his mom to protect him. The god claimed Yuno is quite an energetic baby, but he assured the little one that he is not going to eat them. The god smiled. The baby looked at the god with suspicion, but this time little Yuno had a bit more interest in the conversation. Zeus then told him that he is here to ask Yuno for a favor. The thing is, he wished to make a pact with Yuno. A pact? Yuno wonders. The god confirms his words and says that this is actually a pretty profitable deal for the little baby. The thing is, the god will simply bestow his powers without any restrictions. All for free? Asks the baby. Yes, it was all that simple. Yet the action of the god was strange by all means. Anyway, the little baby Yuno agreed to make a pact with the god. But later he thinks that he was a bit rash then. But it was too late to regret. Still, there was one thing that bothered Yuno. If he recalls it correctly, the old god called himself Zeus, but asked the baby not to refer to him for that time. Then the old god says that he leaves the rest to the boy. The thing that bothers Yuno is the sad expression on Zeus's face when he says that. But the boy didn't finish his meditations. His father, Mero Astario, entered the room. The man asked his son what he was doing here. He reminded him that it's long past his time to get to practice. Yuno admitted that it was his fault and told Mero that he was just doing a little research. Mero looked at his son with a disgrace. He claimed that Yuno has no aptitude in magic and also neglects his swordsmanship training. His father told him that Yuno can't do anything. The guy was collecting his books, listening to his father blaming him. Those words hit his heart. His own father told him such things. Then Mero leaves the room and tells Yuno he is going to the training hall. And Yuno has to also go there. The little kid was making his way to the training hall. He leaned against the wall. His mind was overflowed with all the things he heard from others. You are disgraceful, failure, incompetent. But Yuno claimed he doesn't care what others say about him. The kid was not in the mood for all that this time. The guy went to train with his sister, Ray. The girl swept her sword, attacking Yuno. Luckily, the guy dodged this attack. It didn't look like she's taking it easy on him. When he managed to avoid the attack, Ray told him that he's doing really well. Yuno asks his sister to stop pretending to be knights. She wondered why. Yuno claims that as the youngest sword saint candidate, the entire kingdom putting a lot of expectations. So it would be better for Ray to spend her time training alone instead of wasting it on him. The real reason for that was that being attacked so suddenly, by reflex, began to unleash Yuno's powers. Ray frowned. She came closer and touched Yuno's shoulders. She wondered if Yuno had come to hate his dear big sister. The guy says it ain't like that at all. He never meant such a thing. The girl was cheered up. She asked Yuno to prepare for the next round then. Yuno sighed. Didn't she hear what he said? All of a sudden, Ray attacked Yuno once again. This time, she put a lot more effort into her strike. Yuno dodges the attack, but since it was really hard to do so, something inside of the guy starts to awaken. The guy was scared. Ray tried to cheer up her brother. She claims he is doing great. Meanwhile, the guy feels a tremendous strength awakening inside. He tries to hold it for all costs. Ray claims that there is no doubt that Yuno has a hidden power inside, just as she predicted. Unfortunately, the power inside of the guy was very strong. He tried to put every effort to hold it, but with each second, the power just started growing. This is bad, claims Yuno. The guy claims that his powers keep building up, whereas his sister stands back to him, saying that there is no need to worry about what father or anyone in town says about Yuno. She says that in the future, the guy will definitely be a good knight. With these words, Yuno fails to suppress the power inside him. His hand raises unintentionally, the stream of releasing force focusing in his hand. Ray says that Yuno is her pride, but Yuno's scream startles her. He cries out in fear for her, trying to warn Ray. The girl looks in front of her but sees nothing but a big, bright flash. The sizes of this magic strike are tremendous. She numbed and her feet refused to move. She was just standing there and watching. Luckily, Yuno rushed forward to save her. The little kid outran the magical stream and covers his sister with himself. Then he put his hands forward and tried to stop the attack with his powers. The girl was completely shocked by what she saw. Yuno was standing there as long as needed to fully stop the magical beam. His clothes were torn apart and his hands were burned. But he did the main thing. He saved his precious big sister. Ray was speechless. She wondered what that was just now. Her brother asked her if she was injured anywhere. His posture, voice, and gaze reminded her of the knights she read stories about back then. Her eyes were full of tears. She asked if the guy did all that just to save her. She dashed forward and hugged him. She was crying out in gratitude. As for the guy, he was embarrassed once again. Yuno claims he has just made himself a terrible self-made man. One of the days, Ray bursted into her father's room. The man was scolding his son. The girl wondered if her father was serious about what she heard. Mero yelled at Yuno and told her that he is serious. The father pointed at Yuno and claimed that this is no place for the incompetent to live forever. This is why the Asterio family does not have such a person. The kid smirked. Looks like it was all he wanted, to be exiled from home. Yuno admits that everything is going exactly as he planned, being banished from the Asterio family. He's been waiting for this for a long time. Yuno claims that this immense power he possesses can bring about great danger. Therefore, he is not qualified to coexist in this human society being such a danger. Though he feels bad for his sister, once he leaves this place, he will enjoy a slow life alone in a remote place. Then he was shocked when he turned around and saw his sister just put the sharpened blade to her neck. She claimed that Yuno has a hidden power within him. The guy tried to stop her, but he failed. Ray claims that banishing Yuno, who should be the true successor of this family, would become the shame of the Asterio family. They both start arguing. The daughter says that she rather gave up her life than live to such a shame. Mero tells her that he also believed that there was no way Yuno was incompetent, but he trusted Ray's word, and that's the result. The father also claims that Yuno's efforts do not even bear fruit because the guy doesn't even try in the first place. So no matter what Ray says, there is no chance Yuno will grow. And considering how things are going, it will be difficult to have him enrolled into the Ferris Academy of Magical Knights Gates of which generations of this family have passed through. And his daughter tells him to hand over the inheritance to such a disgraceful person. Ray's face changes. She wonders if her father will withdraw Yuno's banishment if he will be admitted to the Ferris Academy. What? This was never Yuno's plan. What are you doing, big sis? Then she cuts her hand. Ray swears that if Yuno doesn't get admitted and brings disgrace to this family, then she will pay with her life. Mero tells her she said it herself, and since she's sworn it by this family's name, he will show no mercy. Yuno, who was there and watching those terrible things, told his sister that he appreciates her efforts, but Ray showed a paper to her father. The girl claimed she was serious. The guy was frustrated because of the fact that his future was decided for him. It's a terrible thing. He doesn't even lie when he says that he doesn't want to attend that academy in the first place. He claims that he will make his protest right here and right now. Big sis, I will do what I want! No one hears him. It was just a dream. He recalled the events within a dream. The guy looks around. The sun rays pass through the window, a bright shining enlightening the room. It is morning, wonders Yuno. The guy decides to lay in bed a little longer. He plops down onto bed and claims that it is super soft. As for the room, it's spacious. Such a stark difference between a stereo estate, claims the guy. As the guy was lying in his bed, he admits that he has passed many problems up until this point. He's been knight for a few days by now, and he has been able to live a reasonably satisfying life here in the Flame Estate. The size of the building itself is nowhere comparable to the Asterios, but the guy was still comfortable with his own room to relax in. Even the commute to Ferris Academy is convenient thanks to the Duke of Flame Estate being in the same city, royal capital. On top of that, the guy is happy that Kami-sama lives right next door. Up until now, they would only be together in the academy, but now Yuno is in an environment where he can meet with Kami-sama whenever he wants. The guy has also heard that Kami-sama doesn't need to eat or sleep in the first place. Athena herself seems to be enjoying life outside the academy for the first time in her own way. That's why he is really grateful to Luna. Yuno claims it would all be perfect if not one little problem. He looks right beside him and finds Elise. He looks at her while she is sleeping and claims that she is actually very cute. But on the other hand, she nearly broke his rep. Well, everything has its own end. The guy rises and claims it's time for him to get changed. The next thing he knew is that his room became a playground for Elise, leaving no room for privacy for himself. Suddenly, the little girl also wakes up. She wonders if Yuno is going to the academy. He turns around. The guy claims that it's almost time for him to go to the academy. Elise wonders if Yuno cares about Luna more than about her. He lands on his knee. The guy claims he cares about both of them equally. Besides, he thinks very high on Elise as well. She wonders if Yuno really means it. The guy assures her he is. She wonders if Yuno loves her. The guy admits he knows what she's trying to pull. He says, yes. But such an answer didn't satisfy her. She claims that she won't accept it if it is not his own words. And she told him that just when Yuno had poured his heart to this devil in an angel's skin. She asks one more time if Yuno loves her. This time the guy says everything by himself. She smirks. Yuno claims it was all over for him now. All of a sudden, a little duchess starts singing. This startled the guy. Yuno wonders what she is doing. The duchess doesn't react to his words. Instead, the little girl snaps her fingers. Yuno took a deep breath and shouted so loud that everyone in the estate could hear him. The guy shouts that he cares about Elise and loves her. Some of the vassals even closed their ears because of the loudness of Yuno's scream. But overall, everyone was quite impressed. Charlotte admits this was very cute to hear. As for the Duke, a loud scream of his daughter's knight irritated him. He was pissed off, like he always was. Claude, who was also beside his senior, admits that it is a highly curated magical sound. He says that that's why they call Elise a prodigy. Argos smacked the table with his huge fist. The man was enraged. He suddenly appeared in Yuno's bedroom. He looked at the guy with his evil eyes and grabbed his sword. Argos claims that Yuno bears his venomous fangs not only to Luna, but also to Elise. The guy admits he can't stand this family anymore. The Duke told Yuno to be prepared for the death after wondering what they were doing with his daughter. Fortunately, all this mess was heard by Athena. Kami-sama appeared in the window. She peeked from the corner and wondered what's happening. The guy was really glad to see her now. The goddess smiled at him. The Duke, no matter how insensitive he was, couldn't stand Athena's gaze. After he saw her smile, he completely forgot about his threats towards Yuno, but it was not enough. The guy knew that there is only one person who can save him from this mess. Speaking of which, after Yuno remembered her, Luna opened the doors and entered the room. Everyone, including the Duke, was silenced. Luna entered the room and looked around. It was a complete mess. Again. She didn't say a word, the girl just sighed. Then she told Yuno to get going. Just about time! Yuno says that he will do what she says. He claims that before he enrolled into this academy, he wouldn't have believed it himself if he had said that he was eagerly awaiting to attend classes. But this is his daily life now. He attended classes with two beauties. Just a regular day of Yuno's life. 3 of them entered the gates of the academy. Everyone around was amazed by Luna's presence. They claimed that Luna is as beautiful today as she always is. The girl took these words without caring a little bit. Yuno watched her and he admired her posture as well. Luna Flame. She is the eldest daughter of the Duke of the Flame House, one of the 4 most powerful families. She is entering St. Ferris Academy, and she is also at the top of her class. Since then, she has been attracting other students with her overwhelming aura and beauty. In a sense, she has become the Empress of Ferris Joe. Yuno admits that the moment she enters the place, it's become really noisy, somewhat reminiscent of servants to their lord. However, behind the scenes, she is often jeered at by those who envy her. Yuno says that he bets that she has had her fair share of hardships with her popularity. All of a sudden, Athena calls Yuno. The guy turns around to his goddess and wonders what it is. The goddess claims that she's getting the feeling that people are staring at her a lot more lately. The guy looks around. He tells Athena she should take a good look at the faces of these people. The goddess looks at them. It looked like they weren't glaring at the goddess. They rather look at her with admiration. Someone recognized her. The other guy wished to make a pact with her. Looks like Yuno told her the truth. Athena apologized. She says that she just isn't used to this sort of thing. Yuno smiles and says that she will get used to it. He claims it is okay to look more dignified and tells her to take an example from Luna. However, there were some glares towards them. But Yuno supposes the glares were pointed at him, and Athena just took it on her account by mistake. The guy becomes embarrassed and says it must be his mistake. The guys were gossiping behind his back. They supposed it was a mistake that someone like Yuno Astario became the knight of Luna-sama herself. They wondered what kind of dirt he had got on her. The guy was upset. He hoped that becoming Luna's knight would turn his reputation from scorn to respect. But it appears things aren't going to be that easy. Yuno tells Luna that he will be off for now. She thanked him and said that he will be waiting here for him to pick her up. So Yuno continued his way with Athena. The guy claims that aside from his reputation, the name of the goddess Athena has been spreading really well, and he is confident that his decision wasn't a mistake. Then Athena says that she will be off to her prayers now. The guy says, goodbye. When the goddess disappeared, Yuno heard a familiar voice. It was giggling. He turned his head to look at who that was. He saw Alice and the other girl whom he met at the matchmaking. The guy headed to the classroom. He sat at his place and Alice entered the classroom shortly after. She greeted Yuno. He greets her back. The girl sat near him. She says that she takes it that Luna is okay today as well. The guy says she is, more or less. The guy claims that Alice seems to be getting along well with Ayn. He explains that he happened to see them both earlier today. He was surprised to hear that Alice ended up choosing Ayn in the matchmaking. The girl was surprised to hear that. She says it's understandable since she is Ayn's knight. Yuno apologizes for his words. Yuno then wonders if Alice happened to know Ayn. Alice replies that they were not acquainted before. She met Ayn for the first time in matchmaking. Yuno admits he isn't surprised. After all, Ayn is such a sweet girl. No wonder Alice was attracted to her as well. Shortly after, Soleil enters the room. He greets everyone and says that he will begin with connecting application forms for the joint training camp with Ferris Joe. He asks to pass them forward starting from the back seats. The guy wondered, what aining camp? Alice was startled. She reminded him that it is training camp, the one that begins today. The guy looks for a paper under his table. Luckily, he found one. The guy who sits before Yuno asks him to pass the paper. But the guy has just started to write his application. He wonders if Alice and Ayn are going as well. Alice nods. The guy decides to go as well. He writes the application successfully and passes it forward. But the girl was startled that Yuno submitted the application without even a word to Luna. Yuno was surprised. He claims that this ain't some sort of a sleepover after all. He claims that if Alice and Ayn would be there, then Luna will also have fun there. The girl says that she doesn't know what kind of fun camp Yuno is thinking of in his head, but this camp is an extracurricular activity where he will be trying to survive 3 days and 2 nights in the forest of the divine beasts. The guy would have made a facepalm if he knew what this is. He rushed forward to the Soleil sensei and told him that he actually doesn't. The man turned back. He looked at Yuno with his burned-out eye and asked what exactly Yuno does not. The man says that he believes he has provided students with more than enough time to talk this over with the girls. He asks if that is not that Yuno didn't listen to him again. Yuno stepped back. He wanted to take his application so badly. Unfortunately, he couldn't admit that he didn't listen to his sensei again. At home, Yuno says that he is sorry for suddenly putting this on her. Luna tells him that she particularly doesn't mind. The Duchess claims she was going to participate anyway. The Duchess points out that surviving 3 days and 2 nights in the forest of divine beasts, it would essentially be like any other camping trip anyway. And she has never attended any camps before. She giggles and tells Yuno that she rather looks forward to it. Yuno shrugs his hands. He says that she is right. Still, he is worrying that it may be too tough for Luna, especially given that she doesn't have previous experience. Additionally, word has it that less than half of participants are from Ferris Joe, which means Luna asks her sister to leave Yuno alone since they have an important conversation here. But she says that her younger sister can play with the guy later. Elise asks if Yuno doesn't mind. The guy replies that it is like Luna told her. They can play later when he finishes his conversation with Luna. Elise and Luna were staring at each other in complete silence. Yuno felt a bit awkward in this situation. Luna asks him if there is anything else he wants to tell her. The guy wonders if the girl is sure that her father, the Duke, will allow her to participate in that camp. Luna says that from what she heard, the reason for the majority of the students not attending were because of parents not wanting their child endangered. However, she claims that her case is different. Luna claims that her father will definitely approve of it. She says that she already informed her mother about her intention to participate. Yuno listened to her with surprise. In the end, he wondered who actually is the head of this family in the first place. Elise asked Yuno where they were going. The guy told her that they might be going to a camp for their school. Luna interfered with the conversation. He fixed Yuno's words and told her sister that it's not might, but will. The little Duchess claimed it sounds fun and asked to go as well. Luna told her that she cannot allow that. She suggests Elise stay home, but the sly little girl says that it is Yuno who wants to be with her. She asks Yuno if he wants to be with her. She was really annoying, but cute. Luna ordered her to stop. She asks her to leave Yuno alone and told her once again that she isn't going with them anywhere. Elise claims it's not fair. It's always Luna who hangs out with Yuno. Luna says that there is nothing special about the camp, and it is just for their studies. Little Duchess smirked. She claims this sounds fishy to her. She wonders if Luna is sure about that. Yuno tries to convince Luna to change her mind. He says that it was all on him this time. If he apologizes with Soleil-sensei once more, maybe the man will cancel their participation. Luna claims Yuno doesn't seem happy about her participating in this training camp. The guy says it wasn't what he was implying. The girl wonders if it could be that Yuno wouldn't enjoy it if she came along with him. It was bad. Yuno saw something sad in Luna's eyes. He admits that he made her upset. Yuno says this is not the case. He is all for her to participate in the camp. But Yuno says that the Forest of Divine Beasts is renowned for its abundance in low-level magical beasts, with not only goblins, but wolf beasts which travel in packs lurk in these woods. They, as the students of the Academy of the Knights, can handle them on their own. That's why he is still uncomfortable with bringing Luna to such a potentially dangerous place. Luna looks at him with surprise. "That is what is bothering you?" she asked. Yuno tells her he didn't mean this. Luna claims she doesn't see a problem with that. On top of that, she told Yuno is going to protect her. That was what Luna said to him as she eyed him down with unwavering eyes. And in the end, he couldn't counter her words. Thus, the days for their camping training came. Yuno caught a fish with his spear. Wonderful. Interestingly enough, Yuno was with a girl we haven't seen before. She was sitting on the beach and holding a fish in her hands. This girl claimed that the fish is big, fancy, and quite delicious. She wanted to have a taste of it, but Yuno told her that it is a dinner for 3 so she doesn't have to eat too much. Then the guy dived into the water once again in order to catch a few more fishes. But after he rises from the water, he sees this girl has already eaten the fish. Yuno's first question, who is this girl with animal ears? Yuno tried to solve the problem peacefully. The guy told her that this is his fish. The girl agreed with him. She said that it was his fish. But this fact still didn't make her change her mind and not to eat the fish. Yuno wondered if it was possible that she could be from the nearby village. He sits in front of the girl with animal ears and wonders if she is all alone here. He says that this place is quite dangerous, so she has to be careful. She looked at him with surprise. Yuno's eyes were surprised no less. She swallowed the remains of the fish and lent her hand to Yuno. "Second, please." The girl with cute ears smiled. Yuno felt really out there. "Don't tell me I have to catch another fish for this girl," he thought. Yuno gives her a bucket with 2 more fishes. He tells her that she can have them. She thanked the guy. He claims he can't be helped. Therefore, he decides to go catch a fish some more. The girl claims that this was more than enough for one day. That girl caused a microgale and disappeared as quickly as she appeared. She left nothing but an empty bucket. After a while, Yuno went back to his place. Athena was waiting for him and she greeted him first. The guy claims that being greeted when returning is nice. Luna then shows up from the bungalow. She greets Yuno and claims he came back earlier than she expected. Yuno says that he will be home now. He wonders if something happened while he was gone. Luna thinks. She says that nothing particularly happened, though she is not sure if she may say the word nothing. The guy wondered if they met a demonic thing. Girls claim that while there was no damage to them, a beast that was considerably taller than the trees was staring at them from a distance. Athena says that she is not sure about this, but a divine beast? Both Yuno and Luna ask this question simultaneously. Athena says it may be true. She claims that she felt divine powers. Yuno admits that this place is called the Forest of Divine Beasts after all. There is nothing especially unusual about it, but the barrier spell Alice taught him is working normally with no signs of tampering. It seems that this divine beast wasn't hostile. But if it were the case, then why would it bother making an appearance? Was it hungry? No, it doesn't seem so. Luna says that it turned out to be nothing much either way. The Duchess supposed it was time to prepare dinner. Yuno puts his bucket on the ground and tells them he will help with the dinner. Luna and Athena tell him it isn't necessary. The girls started slicing the fish, whereas Yuno went to ignite a fire. Everyone seemed to do the work fine. The guy claims that with all that's been said and done, he is satisfied where he is. Suddenly, he hears a familiar voice. It was Alice. Alice and Ein were walking around. They greet Yuno. The guy wondered if they had set up a camp around here as well. Alice told him that they had. In fact, she and Ein were searching for a spot by the river that wasn't too crowded. That's how they ended up here. Yuno claims this is coincidence as they did the same. Ayn wondered if they two had known each other since childhood. Alice claimed it was just a coincidence. Alice was also wondering about something. The girl claims that Luna and Athena are already preparing. She wondered if the guy was sure he shouldn't be something to help them as well. He says that he doesn't mind it too much. Yuno claims they both were pretty adamant in doing it themselves. The guy wonders if Luna has cooked anything herself, aside from Athena. She says she is not sure about that, but it was Luna they were talking about. Alice claimed she is sure that the Duchess can handle anything coming her way. Yuno says it looks like it. Luna told them she can hear their every word. Both Alice and Yuno apologized. Alice apologized he disturbed Luna. She claims she will be leaving, but Luna stopped her. She wondered why Alice wanted to leave so soon. Yuno says that Luna is right and suggests they join the dinner. They wondered if Yuno was fine with that. The guy says it wouldn't be a problem if Luna says so.